Hi there, fight fans. My name is Kian Lang, and I'm very happy to say that I'm today joined by UFC Featherweight Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel, how are we doing today, brother?
Very well, thank you, mate. I'm just here with my daughter enjoying the dad life. So I'm got another one on the way in 2 months. Yeah, so things have been a little bit hectic, but I'm enjoying it, man. I love it.
Oh, congratulations, first of all. That's incredible, man. Obviously, we last saw you in March at UFC London. Morgan Charrière, a big, heavy hitting guy, 12 knockouts in his career, and you went out there and put on a really clean technical performance. How happy were you with the win?
You know what, mate? It's like I'm not surprised. That's what I generally I'm like. Would the UFC give me a guy that's Morgan? No disrespect to him, he's been in there with best guys in the world. He's been in there like he had a close decision fight with Paul Hughes. Um, but I know how good I am, and I really don't mean that in an arrogant way. I've been in the UFC 7 years now. They say it's hard to get to the UFC, harder to stay. I'm in, now my record's 9-3, with two of those losses being very debatable. I'm not surprised, there was the bookies had me as an underdog. I'm like, the guy had, I think it was 3 or 4 UFC fights. Um, I'm sitting there thinking I should be getting a top ranked guy, but so be it. I'll still get paid the same amount of money. So yeah, I wasn't surprised with the performance. I did think that maybe I'd get a finish, but it's I'm becoming a decision king. So yeah, I don't mind having another 3-5 minute fight. It's more time, more ring experience, and I'm only going to come out a better athlete from it. So yeah, it was good fun. And as I say, hats off to Morgan. It's no disrespect to him. He's a very, very talented fighter. I just believe that I'm levels above the guys that I've been fighting.
Yeah. And how do you balance that finish, looking for the finish and then trying to just secure the win? Because obviously it's a sport that's become sort of obsessed with finishes, but a guy like yourself, even if it's a decision win, it's an exciting fight. So I don't think fans can complain too much. How do you balance that in the cage?
Well, that's the thing. So in my fights, I'm dropping these guys and I'm following them down to try and ground and pound their head off. I'm not following them down to give them a break, but people keep telling me, "Oh, you should let him up." But I want to finish him. I'm trying to finish him. Obviously, I thought I'd get the finish. Morgan done exactly what he needed to do. He got a tight underhook and he kept me, low, so I wasn't able to get that. I did think I'd get a submission, went for that, couldn't get it. The only time I would say that, if you like, I'm not rushing for a finish was, for example, the third round, because he wasn't coming forward. So I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to chase you when I don't need to. I've done enough. I've won the fight. If you want to run around, that's absolutely fine. But I'm not going to do anything too hasty or stupid and potentially lose the fight. Not when I've got a win bonus waiting on it. I've got a daughter he needs that money. So, yeah, if he wanted to come at me like a bat out of hell in that last round, then we would have given the fans an absolute scrap. But, there's only so much I can do if the guy is on the back foot. So, yeah, but as I say, I'm in entertaining fights. So when I'm getting people moaning about not finishing, I'm like, come on, man, there's no pleasing you guys. If I get a knockout in the first round, they'll probably moan that it happened too quick. So, yeah, there's only so much I can do, but I'm just going out there, just putting on the performance that I can. And I am trying to get the finishes. So, apologies if I can't get them, but, I'm getting the win. That's the main thing.
I think it's the way with the modern fan. I think no matter what you do, it's kind of a lose-lose a lot of the time with them. You can't do much. And since moving to featherweight, obviously you're 5-1. And again, this was another fight where it just looked like you were too fast and too technical for him. I mean, the footwork was beautiful. Do you feel that in the cage, that even if you're giving up a little bit of size to these guys, you're just too fast for them?
Definitely. And that's what I've noticed in the gym for years. I was always struggling with the small guys, like the flyweights. Even though I had a weight advantage, they would always be quicker. I would do better against the featherweights, guys that were heavier than me, but slower. And I just sort of thought, why am I always cutting weight? Like, I always said to my coaches, and it was kind of like, oh, but at bantamweight, there's almost like a pathway for you. You've always been at bantamweight and so on. And for ages, I just thought, man, it just seems backwards. I'm doing better against bigger guys. So eventually, I said, you know what? I'm just going up a weight. I'm not doing it anymore. And proof is in the pudding. The only loss that I've got in the UFC, obviously, was a bit of a bullshit loss, if I must say so. But regardless, it wasn't nothing to do with weight. There was no kind of oh, this guy's too big or too strong for me. So I feel like the proof's in the pudding. I feel like other people should stop cutting so much weight and trying to get an advantage and look at it as there's advantages in other areas. Yes, you may be smaller, but you're faster. It's harder to get someone down to the ground when they're moving and they're just super quick, and that's what I mean. I struggle with flyweights. So going up a weight, mate, it's easy. I get to enjoy my life more. I think, usually I'd have about 9 weeks fight camp where it's just hell cutting to bantamweight. I was just hungry, always just going into my training sessions depleted. Now I had about 2 weeks where I had to diet, and that was it. I was just enjoying my life, eating clean, eating good, and replenishing as an athlete should. So, hopefully people will look at me and follow in my footsteps, because cutting weight's dangerous. It really is. So many people have died doing it, and if they haven't died, they've messed up their bodies doing it. And at the end of the day, this is a sport. None of us want to be getting killed cutting weight. So, I'm kind of proud of myself in a way to actually have the balls to go up a weight, whereas other people are just, trying to always just cut that bit of weight to have that size advantage.
Yeah, it is admirable, man. And looking at the gym that you guys have there at Great Britain Top Team, it feels like you have the perfect structure around you to succeed. I mean, from Brad Pickett to Ashley Grimshaw, and then if you look at the fighters you guys have over there, I mean, from Lonnie Kavanagh to Joanny Scott to Alfie Davis to yourself, I mean, there's so many more. How good is that family feel around you, and how much confidence does that give you going into these fights?
It's everything. When I first started this game when I was 15, 16 years old, you'd be lucky to have one other fighter on the mat. And that's if you get someone your weight. I used to have to spar with like light heavyweights. Now I've got a gym full of professional fighters all trying to pursue their dreams as they make this a career. We're all in the same boat. We all have the same ambitions. And it's nice, it's reassuring that when I go to the gym, I'm spoilt for choice with sparring partners. I've got targets on my back. I've got young up and comers who are keeping me young and fresh. I've got older guys like Ashley Grimshaw, Brad Pickett, who have got the knowledge. Obviously, they're not sparring it anymore. Like with myself, Ash is 43, I think, and Brad's almost 47. So, they're obviously getting on a bit, protecting themselves a bit more, but they've got years of knowledge. So we really are spoilt when it comes to sparring partners, training partners, and having the knowledge on the mats. We are more of a small team, as in like the smaller guys. We haven't got many big guys, and I think that's just because I guess you attract, because there's so many smaller guys, lightweights and below, we just attract more and more. We've got a guy who's just come in and from Belgium. I can't actually pronounce his name, but he was former UFC fighter, now fighting on PFL. So we're just getting people coming from all around the world and want to get rounds in with us and training. And, it's a nice feeling. It's reassuring as well to have such a good team behind me.
Yeah. And how do you balance it for yourself? Because obviously now you've got the Prospect Academy, which is incredible. If people haven't seen, they need to check that out. And the coaching you're doing yourself and being a training partner and then focusing on your own career as well. Is that sometimes difficult to manage that and balance it?
It can be mentally, but if I'm honest, with the sort of with my mental health, I'm someone that I struggle more when I don't have anything to do. I've probably got ADHD that I've never been diagnosed, but I need to be doing something all the time mentally. So, I'll go training, come home, try and work on the business. If I'm not doing that, I'm doing something on YouTube. If I'm not doing that, I'm out socializing. I just don't like sitting still. So I think it's a tough lifestyle, but one that I enjoy and that suits me as a person.
I think that's incredible. And you mentioned there the ADHD. I'm the exact same. So hearing someone like yourself speak about it openly, man, it's really cool to see. And looking forward now.
But I think sometimes I feel sorry for people that aren't like that, because I feel like life's so short. It is so short. We could die at any moment. I want to get as much done and as much out of this as I can. I do not want to come home, sit on my ass for 4 hours watching Netflix back to back, and then at the end of the week, someone says, "Oh, what did you do on the week?" And I'm like, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I want to achieve so much that I haven't got enough years in my life to do what I want to do. So I'm just going to try and milk as much out as I can And to me, I think that's a blessing. It's not a curse. I'm very fidgety. I can't sit still. And I think that I'm happy with that. I'm going to get more done than I think the average Joe. And, when I'm old and on my deathbed, I'd like to look back and, see how many things that I've done in my life.
Oh, I mean, it's cool. My mum was the same. She used to tell me that it's a blessing, not a curse. So it's cool to hear, man. Looking forward now for yourself. I mean, the division is wide open now. It's ever changing. Guys like Gene Silver coming up. Lerone Murphy, I know, is a guy that's been mentioned for you a few times. It feels like a top 15 opponent has to be next. It's what you deserve. Is there a name in particular that you'd like to see next for yourself?
So I don't have a particular name. So long story short, my next daughter is going to be born should be here in about 6 weeks. So I'm like, right, I'm going to get her here. As long as everything, touch wood, healthy, everything's right, then I'm like, boom, let's fight. I don't care who I fight. I will fight anyone the UFC gives me. Ideally, I want people ranked above me. So, of course, if I got to decide now, Lerone Murphy for starters, because I'd like to, end that kind of debate on who we think's better. Obviously, he's ranked 8th in the world, and he's obviously on wins. So I imagine that they're going to give him someone ranked above him. If not, give me anyone in them rankings. Give me someone like a Josh Emmett, who, let's be honest, he's a gatekeeper now. If not, just who else is there that I can fight? I'll literally fight anyone they give me. Give me a guy that no one wants to fight if you want. I think John Silver's one where I don't think many people want to fight him. I'll fight him. Just whoever. For me, it's just more dates. Obviously, I don't think I could fight very well if, for example, they offered me a fight in Vegas the week before my daughter's due date. I don't think I can focus on a fight like that, not being in Vegas. So, I said to them, look, let me get my daughter here first. Ideally, I would have had a fight sort of around now. This sort of time would have been great, but there was nothing available. So for me, I'm going to get her here, and then whoever the UFC want to give me, honestly, I couldn't care less. I will sign whoever they give me. And as I say, hopefully someone ranked above so I can get paid more money and get a better contract.
Well, mate, whoever it is, I can't wait to see it. I can't thank you enough for your time today. It's been a real pleasure. You're a legend inside the cage and outside of it as well, man. So thank you very much and keep it up, man.
Thank you. A pleasure. And thanks for having me as well. And doing what you guys do as well.